set that aside to dry. So these pieces are where that is when it's dry. So I'm going to put away my 4-to-1 glue. And there's more steps yet to do. So if I just tried to cut back these long ends, a lot of these will probably just come right off of here, which is really quite annoying because we've gone to all this effort to set these on, but they're glued sort of shakily. So what we're going to do now is, before we cut them back at all, let's move this out of the way a bit. I'm going to take some 2-to-1 glue, and it can be particularly water, it could be 2-to-1 is fine. And we're just going to put a quick layer. You could probably do about half, since these aren't going to move around or pop off. You can take it to about the halfway point, and then you're going to have to set it aside. So again, we're going to have to counterweight that with a couple of clips. You want to set the clips far enough away so that whatever you're setting them upon doesn't touch the glue either. And just set that aside to dry. Actually going to set this clip back here, and then it can sit like that. So set it aside to dry on some sort of apparatus of this nature. And when it's done, and you've got both sides pre-hardened along the whole length, I believe these pieces are at that stage. So what I'm going to do now is grab each of these pads and flex them a little bit into the fiber tape. So kind of creating it just serves to straighten it out, kind of flatten them because they look a little off at first. And once you've got it like that, should be pretty close. We're going to take it from behind here and just cut right along wherever the fiber tape ends. Now you can, if you're worried about popping these track pads off, sometimes it can still come off there, and it is a little bit of a risk. As you're cutting, just grab the 1 or 2 of the track pads. You can sometimes even grab 3 at once that you're cutting to brace them so they don't torque off there. So from the fiber tape end. Oh, one thing I would also advise you to do is always put the glossy side down to the fiber tape. It's going to be easy to paint this side. But if this was glossy sides of the cardboard, that would be pretty tough to paint. And more visible than this side anyways. But with this much drywall fiber tape and all these layers of glue, it's not going to be hard to make the fact that the glossy side and there's colors and stuff, it's not going to be hard to make those disappear at all. So as you can see, I have done always put the cardboard side out. Okay, now that we have these parts, now I don't recommend actually gluing them to the vehicle until the wheels and the track are painted. But you can measure their length at this time so that you have the track sitting on the proper tank that it's going to go to on the proper side. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind is, as you do this, note which side of the tank you're doing. So this is the left. I got to keep that in mind because it's easy to forget, and you don't get to instantly put it back on the vehicle. It takes a moment. Okay, so you can see how much there is. I need one more track on here, one more track pad to make that close enough. So yeah, you have about 1.5 centimeters. Not really much more. So I need to make this a little bit longer. Let's see if I have one that's closer to the right length. So I didn't go far enough with that one. It's a danger. This one's fine. See how that just meets up like that? So I'm just going to trim this back a little bit. And I'll pull it as tight as I dare, keeping in mind that I'm putting pressure on this button, which is crazy glued to a 8-ring cap, which is just sitting on that little nubbin of wood, so not a whole lot of pressure. But you do want to put some pressure on it to make sure it's going to be tight. You want it to be tight. And so make sure it's going to be right. And if you have to cut a pad off this side, that's fine too, as long as you're going to be in the right spot. And so remove it and take either full strength glue or 4-to-1 glue is usually fine as well. And just throw some on this part. And then glue it into one piece. We're going to need a couple of these clips again. One for each pad that overlaps the centimeter or centimeter and a half, so of blank track or blank drywall tape. So lock it in like this, and then set it by the side that it corresponds to, so that you know, okay, this is the left and I've got it here. So now I would usually go and do a right bit and set them both right by that vehicle so that I don't lose them or accidentally attach them to a different vehicle. And then once they're dry, I'll just set them on there until I'm ready to start painting. And only glue them to the wheels once you're done painting everything.